Scabby Hayze.
In an ancient hotel in room 142 lay two foolhardy fools with nothing to do. They sit and they ponder about movies they've seen while trapped in their room and stare at their TV screen. Sometimes they play songs on the instruments they've amassed. The Pinj and Maggie on the Scabby Hayze podcast.
Welcome to the Scabby Hayze podcast. This is your co-host Maggie.
And this is your co-host Pinj.
Today we're doing a movie review, and we realized that we haven't done a Scabby Hayze podcast in a really long time.
But due to the current circumstances, hey, no better time. And
we have nothing better to do.
And there's only one movie that could bring us back. One special kind of movie.
Big Trouble in Little China.
This is a movie from 1986, directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell.
Yeah, it's, how do you say, it is not exactly an epitome of one of John Carpenter's films.
Not really.
It's extremely the opposite, actually.
It's very different.
Well, let me say this. It's different from the one that I have seen John Carpenter do.
Which is very Carpenter-esque.
I've only seen one, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Just the thing.
So anyways, while we're getting right into it, we might as well get right into it.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're a little bit rusty. At least I am.
It's been a while.
So the movie that we're gonna review is called Big Trouble in Little China. And as Pinj already stated, it was made in 1986.
You can definitely tell.
You can definitely tell, mainly by the music and the horrible haircuts.
Yeah.
Most specifically, Kurt Russell's terrible mullet.
It's pretty crazy.
And his high stonewashed jeans.
Yep.
And
they're like way past his hips. They're like halfway across his abdomen.
I know.
They look ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, it's just bad. And his trucker hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the trucker hat's not so bad. It's fairly fitting.
It's just bad with his mullet. He just looks like a redneck.
I mean, it fits well because that's kind of his character.
Kind of. Alright, well, okay, here's what I will say right off the bat. I think this movie was meant to be bad.
Yes, kind of.
Although maybe it didn't start out that way. I could see them writing out the plot and having a serious tone to it, and then maybe just deciding, like, split-second decision. Hey, let's make this as ridiculous as we possibly can. We have special effects. Let's use them to this movie's disadvantage and make it hysterical by making it really, really bad.
Yeah.
And it actually is pretty hysterical.
It's easily, well, as the star of 2020, this is our first episode this year.
Really?
Yeah, we haven't done one in 2020. So far, this is my favorite comedy I've seen this year.
Really?
I can't think of anything better.
Well, what else have we seen in 2020?
Well, for me, personally, I saw Jojo Rabbit, which is a comedy to an extent, for the most part.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, other than that, not too many things. I don't think Knives Out is considered a comedy, though there is a lot
funny. And also not a good movie, but we might do that one later.
Yeah, we might. That would be a really interesting topic. You and I have talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
Off
Spoiler
mic.
alert, I didn't care for it. We'll see.
I definitely enjoyed it, yeah.
We'll see. Maybe a second time won't be so bad.
Yeah.
Wasn't impressed.
This goes up there for me. It's really well made and horribly made at the same time.
I feel like we're kind of late getting on the bandwagon because I feel like most people have seen this movie.
Most likely, it's
kind of popular in the bad film genre, like good bad films.
Yeah, it had a semi. Okay, it didn't have a semi. It was just a pretty big flop when it initially came out. But since then, it has...
Was it not received well?
No, it was received really well, actually, by test-screened audiences.
Oh.
However, I was going to save some trivia for the end, but I'll say this right now. Yeah, when they did test screens with the audiences loved it. It had a great reception. But the studio, 20th Century Fox, did not put really any money into advertising it, and therefore barely anybody went to go see it, and thus it was kind of a flop. Yeah, since that time, John Carpenter, Kurt Russell, I think they did a commentary track with the film. They said that the reason that they didn't put any money into advertising it is they had no idea how to advertise it. Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I don't know
true.
how you would ever sell someone on this film.
It would be hard to without. Yeah, I don't even know.
It's a big task that I don't think is even manageable.
They would just have to make it completely a mystery.
Yeah.
Like advertise it like you don't know what you're about to watch, just watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is terrible advertising, but that would be
There's-
the only way you could advertise for this movie.
There's no better way to go into this film than barely knowing anything.
Right.
Um
Which I did not, except there's a very famous scene at the end. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not.
which one is it?
The one where the guy blows up.
Oh. I guess it's considered a spoiler.
Okay.
You don't have to say who, just
Okay. There's a character in the movie that fills up with air and expands and explodes, and it's a pretty famous scene because it's just so incredibly ridiculous. So I have seen that scene,
it's true.
but that was the only thing. And honestly, I didn't even know it was from Big Trouble in Little China. I thought it was just from a. I mean, I didn't know what movie it was from, and I didn't know the context. I didn't know
There really
the
is no
storyline.
context.
Yeah, actually not. Yeah, it's a random scene inside of a very random movie.
Yes. I'll state that I watched this film a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I saw it and said, that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Maggie has got to watch this. And I forced you to watch it. I didn't tell you anything, I think. I think I just said, just enjoy it. That's probably like the best you can do. And yeah, we watched it a couple weeks ago, and then we rewatched it with our sister 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get a couple opinions, after a couple rewatches, what we still thought of it. I definitely enjoy it even after the third time. This
I
film's
did
hysterical.
too. Yeah, I thought it was funny, and I really liked it,
Yeah.
and I laughed a lot. I don't think
Yeah, I don't think our sister did quite as much. I'm not sure.
I saw her laughing, but I could just tell. She's
Oh, you could feel
this
it.
is retarded.
You could feel it in the atmosphere. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about plot. We've mentioned a lot of what we thought about it, but nobody really knows so far what exactly this movie is about. It's basically about Chinese black magic,
Sorcery, magic.
bad special effects, and horrible one-liners. It follows a main character, Jack Burton, who's a trucker. He and his friend are trying to save some girls who have
Been kidnapped, kind of.
been kidnapped by this like demon
Demon guy, Lopan.
in human form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's-
and he wants to marry one and sacrifice the other, and they have to save him. That's basically the very rough
Yeah.
draft of the plot.
We won't say spoilers per se, because, well, I don't know. It's, what, like a 40-year-old movie at this point?
And like I said before,
It's
we are a little
semi-famous.
late on the bandwagon, so
Yeah,
I feel
40 years
most
late.
people have already seen this movie,
Yeah,
and we're just now talking about it.
yeah.
But I
But the
would think someone would enjoy knowing what somebody thought when they first saw this movie.
yeah.
Because,
I will say the plot isn't really that important in this film because they do the worst job of explaining it to its own benefit because they over-explain it and under-explain it at the same time.
well, that's why I thought that it seemed he could have intended it to be a serious movie.
Yeah,
Because
easily.
the plot could have been in depth, and actually it does have a fairly good plot, an interesting plot.
Yeah.
They just didn't emphasize all the important things about the
No,
plot.
no, they didn't at all.
They took all the detail out of it and just butchered it and made a big joke out of it. But it is hysterical. If they did go through with it being serious, which I don't know what their intentions were with the movie. Maybe it was at the beginning to just be ridiculous. But if their intentions were to make it serious at the beginning, it would be so different. Like you said, it would be a completely different movie.
It's really crazy.
Alright. Well, I think probably one of my favorite things about Big Trouble in Little China is Jack Burton.
Yeah. Kurt Russell nailed it.
There's
some weird balance. It's a fascinating
I don't know
balance.
if it was... Like, did he understand what he was doing?
Oh, the opening scene, I think, sets it up very well that he knew what he was doing.
The best. It's hilarious.
It's just him driving a truck and yelling into this microphone.
The Pork Chop Express, as he calls it.
Yeah, his truck. And he's on like a intercom system or something.
It's not an intercom system. It's a radio.
Radio system of some sorts on a truck.
Probably in contact with like dispatchers.
It could be.
Trucker.
But he's just babbling, and it doesn't make any sense. And he's got like...
He's like giving advice like he has his own little show.
Yeah, and
you just listen to what old Jack Burton knows.
He's got the confidence of like a dictator. It's...
Yeah.
But with nothing to back it up. It's...
Yeah.
It's an incredible balance.
Because he's supposed to have like good advice, and like he's been everywhere and done everything.
Yeah.
But they're just stupid little things.
He's just kind of a moron.
He thinks he's cool, but he's really not.
Yeah. Yeah, Kurt Russell completely nailed this part.
Here's the thing about critiquing this film. It's hard to critique because in places where there are flaws, that's the point.
Yeah.
It's meant to be that way because it's meant to be bad. I don't know. It's hard to critique it because anything you pick out and say they could have done this better and would have made it. No.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be bad.
By being bad, it becomes flawless in a way.
Right.
It's really crazy.
It is.
Okay, let's talk characters. We got Jack Burton.
His friend Wang.
Yeah, his friend Wang.
Chinese Wang. Oh, we should have said that this movie takes place in San Francisco, Chinatown.
Yeah.
So, as I said, it's about Chinese black magic. Most of the characters in this are San Francisco-born Chinese.
Yeah.
I mean, with a Chinese background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So most of the characters in this movie are Chinese, except for Jack Burton and Gracie Law and that weird reporter lady. Yeah, there's some random people in there.
Yeah,
but
a few minors.
Yeah.
I have a question. Who's the main character of the film?
I think it's Jack Burton.
Okay, who's the hero of the film?
That's hard to say. They play off as Jack Burton because at the beginning it's Egg Shen, kind of a minor character.
Until near like the third act of the film,
right?
Where he becomes like this expert of black magic and such, and he has potions and all this stuff.
Way too coincidentally.
Yeah.
All of the resources they need to defeat Lopan.
He has like these little pebbles that explode and launch people by trampolines. It's pretty great.
And he has all this knowledge, like, about everything in the palace and, like, where everything is.
Yeah.
He has a tunnel leading from Lopan's secret palace to, like, his house.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Like, Lopan's down there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Egg Shen, at the beginning, is giving his account of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls Jack Burton a hero.
Yes.
And everybody in the movie just assumes, because Jack Burton came out of the blue and he's there to help and he has this presence of, I'm gonna get him and I'm gonna save him.
Yeah. Hero type.
Hero type. everyone just assumes that he's the hero,
Yeah.
but he is useless.
Yes,
he
entirely.
does nothing.
The entire film.
Yeah.
So,
Literally during one of the main fights, the main battle, he shoots his gun into the air and concrete falls on his head and he's knocked out for like half the fight.
yeah.
And then the other half, he only defeats one guy and he gets stuck to it. The guy he's defeating gets stuck to his foot, and it's the rest of the fight is him trying to get the guy off of his
Yeah.
foot.
It's incredible.
So
It's stuff like this.
He's not the hero, but you have to kind of say that he is.
Okay, but
Because he has that hero presence.
who is the hero?
Probably Wang?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Wang. Because Wang's kind of, on top of being very underrated,
It's true. He's a great little character.
he's not, like, boastful. Like Jack. Like, he's not all talk. Because he doesn't say anything about him knowing kung fu or, like, the ability to
Yeah.
fly through the air.
Yeah, explain that one to
and
us.
do about 15 somersaults through the air. And then all of a sudden he does, and he doesn't brag about it or anything. He's just like, let's go.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think Wang's cool.
yes, Wang
But
is
also
awesome.
he does change accents.
It's confusing. It's pretty much a disaster.
And one of the girls that they're trying to save is his fiance. So
Yes.
he does have more of a reason to defeat Lopan.
Okay.
Who is, I don't know if we mentioned, the bad guy.
In research, I've found, while making of this film, they had the mindset that Jack Burton was a sidekick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Doesn't that make
Ah.
sense?
Yes, it does.
Wang is the hero. He's the guy who saves the princess.
He does.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It really fits together.
But if you didn't know that, which I didn't,
But you can see it.
and if you didn't read into the film, which I did, then you would assume Jack is the hero.
Kinda, yeah.
So it doesn't look like they wrote it that way at all. It looks like
It's
they
very
wrote it
subtle.
for Jack Burton to be the hero.
Mhm.
That's interesting.
It's really well done. It's subtle. It's not shoving it in your face too much.
Yeah. So I do want to talk a little bit, not about cinematography. I mean, we can do that later.
I do want to get into that a little bit.
I want to talk about the settings.
Okay.
Most of the scenes, if you notice, a lot of them take place inside a building,
Kind of a warehouse
but when
place.
they're not, it's dark and stormy
Mhm.
or raining, aside from the fight
Yes.
between the
Sort of the starting fight.
between the whatever they are.
The two clans, I don't
Yeah,
know.
the clans.
The gangs.
The yellow.
The yellow turbans versus the red turbans, as Jack Burton says at one
Yeah.
point.
Don't worry, Jack. They're good.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone constantly is telling other people.
Mostly Jack Burton, because he has no clue what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't really state how bad the dialogue is. Or that's where a lot of the humor comes from in this film. Is the awkward dialogue that's extremely clunky, but it works so well in the film because of that.
Yeah. The reporter in the one of her lines is, "I must be so monumentally naive." And
And
there's
the-
another guy who just is standing by her and he's like, "You are."
Yeah,
And
it's
he doesn't even know who
I
she
know.
is.
It's incredible.
But the delivery is spot on.
Yeah, there's a constant balance between being too serious and still being in on the joke
Yeah.
with all the characters, and I think all the actors really nailed that part.
I think they did, because there are supposedly good bad movies that are trying to do that questionably.
Big Giant.
What is that one that we watched with Mark Wahlberg?
Oh,
The Happening. If that was intended to be a bad movie, they did a bad job of making it a good bad movie.
Yes.
Because it wasn't funny, it was just bad.
It was
And
It was
The delivery was all wrong, the casting was all wrong, the jokes were all wrong in the wrong places.
it was still funny
Also, kind of the same with Birdemic. Birdemic is funny because it's absolutely so monumentally insane how
and
bad
terrible.
it is.
Yeah. Birdemic's on a
But
whole nother level.
also, its dialogue is kind of cringy and instead of funny because it seems like they're just reading their script.
There's an extreme lack in talent in Birdemic as well.
Yeah.
The main character
No
in
emotion.
question marks is the worst actor probably ever.
We probably shouldn't compare Big Trouble in Little China to
Yeah,
Birdemic.
it's kind of an insult.
Yeah, honestly.
Because there's a lot of actual talent in this film.
Kind of.
There is.
Kurt Russell is a pretty good actor.
Yeah.
Although, this is probably the first movie I've seen with him that I actually liked.
Okay. That's fair. I understand
And
that.
liked as in...
Enjoyed.
Thought was funny because it was so bad. So, take that how you will.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means he's a good actor or if I just liked laughing at him.
No, he definitely nails the role in this
I think
part.
so, too. Yeah.
Okay, cinematography. John Carpenter is still a master, even in a bad movie that's still great.
He is, but
There's still a ton of talent behind the camera. It's fascinating.
I also forgot to mention, while still talking about the sets and the setting, how bad some of the sets are.
Okay, for instance.
The wedding ceremony, the big skull, that thing is so fake.
Yeah, I like some of that though.
I do too, but it's just bad.
Yeah, kinda. Oh, I have another little interesting piece of trivia on that. That escalator,
Yeah.
when Lopan comes down the escalator, the actor didn't want to do that at all because it's 30 feet up in the air or whatever it is.
Oh.
It's a massive set, clearly.
Yeah.
And because of his attire, his garb.
Do you think it was going to get stuck?
Yeah, he was really scared that it would get stuck, but production was really rushed that they just asked him to do it and he just did it anyways. So he was really terrified during that scene.
Oh,
yeah.
man. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Did anything happen?
No, nothing happened.
Yeah. Still, though.
Yeah.
If something did happen, that could have been terrible.
So when he's coming down and he's trying to look all fierce, yeah, you might see a little bit of fear in his eyes.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
That's awful. Alrighty. Well, we were on the subject of cinematography, so we want to continue that. I thought the cinematography was pretty good. I mean, aside from some of the sets being a little corny, the shots are still
Unique. They're vivid. They stand out. There's personality to it.
I like the shot at the beginning, where it's raining and it's stormy and the truck's coming.
Yeah.
The credits is a good intro into the film.
It really sets up a lot.
Yeah.
And very kind of subtly as well.
Right. It shows you the
Setting of
settings,
the town.
yeah, the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. The tone.
Yeah.
Just a lot of subtle things that aren't too dramatic or standing out. But they really work you into the film. It does a good job. But yeah, some of the shots just are like really, really good that don't have to be near that good. There's one shot with a fight scene going on where Wang and Jack Burton are running around through like these back alleys and they're being chased and they return to a huge fight that they were previously in.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
just see like chaos in the background of like everyone fighting and it's just
Yeah.
kind of it's a semi-long shot, but they're running by and you just see all of it in the background.
Yeah.
And like that's not essential. They could have shot that in a way cheaper way or way blander way, but they didn't. They used that.
That's true. So
There's a lot of that in this film where they could have gone cheap or low budget, but they didn't. They put actual work into the film.
that's gotta be an attribute of the director.
Yeah.
Where he just takes pride in his work, that even though he's trying to make this as bad as he possibly can, he still wants to make it good quality, which is admirable, I think.
Extremely.
Yeah. If you're still willing to take pride in your work instead of giving up
Yeah.
and just making it absolutely ridiculous. Because it could have been.
A bad film.
Cinematography does have a lot of effect on a movie. And if the cinematography is no good, it can
Yeah.
kind of mess with the rest of it.
Yeah.
But this movie had a pretty good balance.
Mm-hmm.
And it had good cinematography and good storytelling visually, which is important.
John Carpenter's really good at that.
Yeah,
So
he
I've seen.
is. I didn't like The Thing, but it had pretty good cinematography as well. Yeah, I remember that about it.
And just like the...
Well, that movie's just gross.
Just like The Thing, it's also like a pretty movie with its colors.
It's really dark,
What?
The Thing.
The Thing, when it's outside,
It's really dark.
it's really cool. There's one shot in The Thing that I want to reference. It's Kurt Russell going out to a shack outside in their Antarctica. There's a lot of blue and it's dark, but he's got this orange flare.
Yeah.
And there's like a great balance between that
Contrast.
ice blue
Yeah.
and that like red flare or orange flare. It's like a red orangish. But it's a lot of color and it's just really like soaking in. It's really pretty. And I see some of that in Big Trouble in Little China. Like with the final battle, there's a lot of color in that. There's one shot between two characters where they're using magic and it like blows up in this...
It's like purple and orange.
Yeah.
Or
Purple
green.
and green, I
yeah,
think?
I think it's purple and green.
And it just explodes with color and you see like crazy visuals. But it's pretty. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, it's not pretty, but it's
Visually
attractive.
pleasing. Yeah. Visually
I don't know
pleasing.
how to differentiate between pretty and attractive, but it's yeah, I guess visually pleasing. I don't know.
It's just a lot of that in this film where it's not the main focus, but you can tell there's work put into it. There's
Right.
effort. John Carpenter just really excels in that.
I am really excited to talk about is what did this movie mean? What is the takeaway? Did they want you to have a moral to the story to take away from this? Or is the whole reason the movie existed just to be entertained? What is the takeaway from it?
I have no clue.
Now, when we showed it to our sister, she didn't say anything. Even when we asked her,
Afterwards.
what did you think about this movie? She just didn't say anything. But was the intention for this movie to be baffled?
I don't think so. I think it was entertainment value. Just have fun with this movie.
And do you think it was supposed to teach anything?
Probably not.
I can't think of anything.
To take away from?
Honestly, there's hardly any character arc.
No, there's none at all, really.
They were the same at the end as they were at the beginning.
There's...
I mean, okay, it's basically a rescue mission. They go in there, they want to save these girls from this evil spirit.
Yeah.
So the takeaway basically is fight for those you love.
Good versus bad, kind of.
Also that, yeah.
I think...
I meant if there was like an emotional value in it, it would have been
that, but it's barely there.
And it's hardly there.
I don't think this movie's trying to teach you anything. However, I
think so.
I do think there's a lot you can learn from it.
Like how not to make a movie.
No, how not to and how to at the same time.
Yeah, true.
Because like I said, there's actual talent in this film. There's work, there's such a fine line between bad and great bad that it rides on. It's really well done.
It's like way over the top.
Yeah, I think there was probably a lot of like bad in the film, and you can't see it because it's meshed so well together. Like maybe one scene was an accident or it didn't turn out so well.
Yeah,
You can't tell.
who knows what they left in and what they
Yeah.
redid, and we're like, no, that's not. But if it was ad lib or yeah, just a mess up, they're like, oh, it's fine, that's
Yeah.
perfect, just leave it in.
It doesn't matter with
Who
this film.
knows?
Would you watch Big Trouble in Little China again?
Yeah, I already did. I watched it twice. I think within the same week. I'm pretty sure. I was trying to
That
remember
sounds
if
right.
it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I would.
I've watched it like 3 times already. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely funny. I think you probably have to be in the mood for it. Maybe not necessarily a very specific mood. You just have to want to watch something that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you were in the mood for something, I don't know if anybody ever is, but sometimes you're in the mood for like a very toned down movie,
Oh yeah.
or relaxed, maybe even serious. So yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend it if you're in the mood for something like that. But if you are in the mood for a good bad movie or just something
Crazy.
funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder how many people have that sense of humor and how many people actually watched this and enjoyed it and laughed at it, and how many people walked away and thought it was so incredibly stupid and they would never watch it again.
I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. I do know that a lot of people do like this film.
But a lot of the people that we hang around who have the same humor as us.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying it's kind of hard to tell, because we hang out with people who maybe we should get out more.
But aside from the point, would you recommend Big Trouble in Little China?
I wouldn't recommend it to everybody, but I would recommend it. I don't know. You just have to know the person that you're recommending it to pretty well, I'd say, in order to recommend this movie.
You always give this answer.
I know, but that is true, isn't it? I mean,
It
with
is
every
true.
recommendation, you want to know the person and want to know if you're going to recommend a movie, you recommend it because you think they're going to like it. And in order for that to happen, you have to know the person pretty well.
Yeah. I guess.
And it doesn't surprise me that I always give this answer because it makes the most sense. Okay, so I'd say...
It's a cheap answer at this point, though.
Oh. Well, okay, then I don't know how to... Then I would just say I wouldn't recommend it.
You wouldn't recommend it?
Well, I would, but only to certain people. I'd say for people who like good bad movies.
Okay.
People who like B movies.
I wouldn't call this a B movie. I see too much talent.
Okay,
I see too
well,
much
a lot
talent.
of people would consider it a B movie.
Yes, certainly.
But I would recommend it to those kind of people. I wouldn't recommend it to people... See, I know some people who watch... like, Hallmark movies, and...
Oh yeah, this is way better than any of those.
I agree, but they wouldn't think so. They like emotion and storytelling and drama and princesses and
Simple
they-
schlock.
I don't...
The schlockiest
Although
of schlock.
it would be probably just as entertaining as the movie to watch someone who liked Hallmark movies to watch this.
Yes.
That would be hilarious.
It's kind of a troll movie if you wanted to
yeah, that's
get someone
true.
well. Be like, hey, let's sit down and watch this
But also-
film. It's a kind of an action film, you know, good guy versus bad guy, all that jazz. And then they sit down and watch it, and it's Big Trouble in Little China.
Also, not hating on the Hallmark movie lovers out there, and I'm not lumping them all together. I'm not saying this is everybody who likes Hallmark movies, but usually those people tend to be a bit more emotional, so if you do play that joke on them, they might get offended. So...
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Just don't blame us.
I just know a couple people who would not like this movie, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it to them.
Okay.
Because I know they wouldn't like it.
I would recommend this to pretty much everyone, I think.
But also, I will say, if you don't know if somebody will like it or not, I'd recommend it anyway.
Yes.
Just because it's worth the risk.
Yeah. This will really help define someone's taste.
How many ratings stars would you give it?
2.
That sucks.
Out of 2.
Usually it's out of 5.
Out of 5? I'd sit it at.
I'd sit it at
I'd sit it right around 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5.
It's pretty good.
It's a pretty great film.
So it's right up there with Winter Soldier?
It's so different from Winter Soldier. You
Okay.
can't say it's like Winter
That's
Soldier.
not true. Stars don't have genres.
Yeah,
Dude, no, they don't.
kind of do.
No,
they kind of do.
No, they don't.
If,
5 stars. Out of 5 stars.
I'm not gonna lump
5-star rating.
I'm not gonna say that every movie in the 4.5 scale, 6.9 on the Richter scale.
New point. That doesn't make any 6.9 on the Richter scale. That's a quote, by the way.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. Go watch it. I'm not gonna say every movie in the 4.5 area is exactly the same.
Yeah, but you liked it the same. I said you
okay.
like it's ranked right up there with Winter Soldier, meaning
Winter
you
Soldier's
like.
a 5.
Really?
I love that movie. It's so
There
good.
weren't any flaws in it. 5-star ratings, like no flaws.
That's
this is my
not
favorite
true.
movie.
I don't think any movie has.
Okay,
No
well, your
flaw.
ranking system is different than mine. Then.
Except for Big Trouble in Little China, because all its flaws are perfections.
So that's a 5-star rating.
It's kind of a 5-star movie because there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, is it a 4.5 or a 5?
I don't know.
Now I'm confused.
It's a great movie. How do you rank Big Trouble in Little China? It's so
What do you mean?
it's so monumentally
like it?
different.
Well, I'm so monumentally naive. Wow.
What would you rank it?
I'd say probably a 4.
So right in there with Inception. Yeah, see? You can't put them right next to each other. That's impossible. Because they're nothing alike.
Okay.
Okay, go watch Big Trouble in Little China. It's a great little
Go
film.
drop it.
Go drop it.
What the heck?
Go drop it.
Go drop it.
Yeah, go drop it.
Drop it in your VCR player.
Yeah, boy.
If you're Jack Burton and you talk like this and you drop that in there and you watch it.
I forgot to mention.
That Jack Burton is played by Kurt Russell.
Yes, I don't think we mentioned. Okay,
Oh,
now's the time for some quick little trivia about Big Trouble in Little China.
Quiz me.
Okay. Okay. Kurt Russell was sick during some of the production.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had like a flu. So sometimes when he's like really sweaty, that's like actual
fever.
Yeah,
Aw.
feverish.
Man, people had a terrible time with this movie.
Kinda, yeah. But
You can't tell.
that really stands to their
What?
to like the faith they had in the movie. They're like, oh, this is something we're making. Like, even though I'm sick, I'm still gonna work on it, and
Yeah.
we're gonna make this.
Lots of actors have done that.
Kurt Russell.
Not that I liked the movie. In fact, I really hated it. But Katharine Hepburn was really sick in African Queen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. Kurt Russell was also the first pick by John Carpenter to play Jack Burton.
So he already had him in mind.
Yeah.
Probably. That's cool. Good thing that he was able to do it.
Yeah.
Because it probably wouldn't have been as good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's a really niche, like, role character,
Yeah.
and it only works in that way. Neither of the brides have green eyes. They're contacts.
Oh, really?
You can kind of tell. When I wrote this down, I hadn't rewatched it yet. So, yeah, you can kind of tell in rewatch.
Oh. So, do they have blue eyes? Does Gracie have blue eyes? And
I have no clue.
Oh,
I think she has brown eyes, from what it
Yeah,
looks like with the contacts.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell.
yeah, you might have brown eyes. Or something.
Okay, this is kind of a little
That's funny.
sidestep, but it's still trivia. Dwayne Johnson, formerly known as The Rock, and still known as The Rock, stated that in 2015 he wanted to remake Big Trouble in Little China and put him in a starring role or whatever.
I don't know if you scabbies can detect the
Cringe
annoyance
and cringe.
in my silence,
I got some cringe here.
but that's not a happy silence.
Cringe from the Pinj.
I don't like.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
He just annoys me.
Well, it's not so much him. I mean, and since then,
Well,
I
how
think
can
it
you
was.
just say I want to remake it? If you're gonna make a movie, then make sure you cast me because I'm The Rock and I deserve everything. And I want everyone to know that I was the one who thought of
Yeah.
remaking Big Trouble in Little China, which is a mistake.
Okay. In 2018, I think it was, they said it would not be a remake, but a sequel. But what that sounds like to me is a seaboot.
What's a seaboot?
A seaboot is a sequel remake,
Oh.
similar to Force Awakens.
But
where
they didn't make a sequel in the first place, so it can't be a reboot.
Well, no. It's a sequel reboot where they make the exact same film the first time, but it's still set in the same universe. The most common of this equated to is Force Awakens. Force Awakens is literally the what is it?
A New Hope.
Yeah, A New Hope. The first Star Wars film. It's beat by beat the same tale.
It's pretty.
But
much.
it's a reboot, revitalizing the franchise because Disney bought it, while still being the exact same movie. So it's a remake.
Okay, gotcha.
So a seaboot.
Gotcha.
That's what it sounds like to me. And
Sounds
yeah,
like a terrible idea.
yeah, you can't. This movie is lightning in a bottle.
Is that like is happening or is that just a rumor?
No, that was officially announced, but there's
in 2018. That was 2 years ago.
yeah, like I have no idea. This film's kind of dropped off the map. Like that's the most recent article I can find about it.
The only thing is,
So they're still working on it, but I think with The Rock being so busy making the millionth Fast and Furious movie or whatever he's doing at the moment.
see, choices like that, like I choose to be in the Fast and Furious movies and never let them die. His choice roles are just awful. And so the fact that he's the one that asked for it and nobody else did, because everyone who is an actual fan of Big Trouble in Little China doesn't want a reboot because they
No.
know it's perfect.
Yeah, there's
already.
There's
Nobody.
no.
What audience are they going to make this movie for?
It's John Carpenter. This isn't exact quotes, but he said something along the lines of, they wanted to make a movie and put The Rock in it, so they just picked my movie. They don't even like care, because Big Trouble in Little China was a huge flop at the time. So, they just want to make a movie with The Rock in it.
Yeah.
And they don't really care about the original.
That's what everyone who casts The Rock does. Like, oh, people will watch this movie because it has Rock in it.
Yeah. It's so bad because, like, you can't recapture anything in Big Trouble in Little China.
And if they did, it would just be a play on the first one. And it would be a joke because
the first
people
one.
have known about Big Trouble in Little China for years, yeah. And they know all the jokes, and so they're just going to be references to the first one, which is supposed to be funny, and it's not, because it's not original.
And they're advertising it, like you said, with The Rock as, like, the main character.
Yeah.
The Rock's not an actor.
No, he sucks.
He's not an actor. He's, like,
A wrestler?
Yeah, he can quote lines and he can read a script, but he's not in a movie to act.
No.
He's in a movie to be Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
And, he'll raise an eyebrow and he'll look muscly and maybe he'll have a funny line or two, because whatever. But
he's not an actor, he's a character himself.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, like... yeah. That's just how it is. And it's annoying to hear that they're gonna remake this movie. It seems kind of inevitable because they said they're still working on it or whatever. I don't want to see it. I don't even want to see it be made.
Yeah. Sounds like a bad idea.
It's really Hollywoodish. It's annoying.
Yeah. That's how every movie is anymore.
Yeah,
there aren't any original movies.
I mean, yeah, there are. We're getting a couple this year, hopefully. Still. Not sure.
I don't know that I've ever seen like a good reboot. The only
Force Awakens.
exception, it was alright.
Oh, I
I
liked
mean,
it.
really good. The only
Mm,
exception would be Walter Mitty.
that's true. That was a really good remake.
Yeah. Well, takeaway is Big Trouble in Little China. It's a good movie. You
Go
should
check it
watch
out.
it.
Watch it with some friends. Watch
Let
it
us
late
know
at
what you
night.
think about it. We would be glad to hear.
We will be back, right?
Yeah, hopefully we'll be back, what, next week?
Next week
With music
episode.
impromptu
Yeah.
session.
We're going to be playing some jams. So stay tuned for that, for some silly ensuing antics. You can check out our crap on
Our
YouTube.
social media, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter.
We're trying to get a little more active on that. We'll see if we can't find a balance. Post some cool stuff.
Podbean, iTunes.
Yeah. You know, where you're
Spotify.
already listening to us, hang in there. Because we'll be bringing you new episodes soon.
Oh.
Yeah.